The political soldier keenest on this idea was Phil Andrews, a man with convictions for violence and drunkenness. In 1984, he set out the strategy for NF community activists. In Isleworth, Andrews set up a number of community groups. Today, he's no longer in the National Front. He's an elected councillor for his own party, the Isleworth Community Group. He refused our requests for an interview, but we caught up with him leafleting one morning. Mr. Andrews, Jolyon Jenkins from the BBC.
Yes, I know you are. Hello.
Why did you organise the South Isleworth Community Group when you were still a member of the National Front?
There's never been a South Isleworth Community. The Isleworth South Community Group.
Isleworth South Community Group.
Because I've been keen on the idea of community politics for quite a long time. At the time I still had certain views which you could say were racist or nationalist, but I was beginning to believe in the community idea.
By building power in the community, the NF wanted to outflank conventional, corrupt politicians. One man had had this idea before, Colonel Gaddafi. He became the latest in the NF's parade of unlikely heroes. In West London, Phil Andrews was his #1 fan. Are you still a follower of Colonel Gaddafi?
I was never a follower of Colonel Gaddafi.
Are you in favour of his political views?
Will you excuse me, because I'm going to get the police. I'm going about my ordinary, everyday election
Just asking you a
business.
question.
Yes, and I've already discussed this with you. I'm not a follower of Colonel Gaddafi.
But in 1989, while on the National Front executive, Phil Andrews presented the local library with a copy of Colonel Gaddafi's Green Book, which contains his ideas on an alternative to Western democracy. But you gave a copy of the Green Book to the library and praised Colonel Gaddafi
That's right.
to the skies for his ideas on democracy, which seem very similar to yours.
Where Colonel Gaddafi or anybody else supports the idea of popular democracy, I applaud him.
Colonel Gaddafi thought that parliamentary democracy was a fraud against the people. The National Front thought so too. But it wasn't just his ideas they liked. In 1987, leading members of the party went to Libya in search of petrodollars.
In our minds was the fact that Libya is a small country awash with oil money, and if we want to build a serious nationalist movement in this country, we need to attract serious money. So had we been offered it, we'd have been very pleased to take it, and we hoped that we would be.
All they ever got from Gaddafi were bulk copies of the Green Book. It proposes a new sort of democracy based on an intricate system of people's committees. And so do recent election leaflets for Councillor Andrews' new party, the Isleworth Community Group. But Gaddafi's ideas never really won over the people of West London.
The copy of the Green Book that Phil Andrews lodged at Isleworth Library was never actually checked out by a reader. So it would seem on the basis of that there was very little evidence of an interest in the ideas of Colonel Gaddafi in Isleworth.
Gaddafi's